Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Jem and the Holograms? Yes, here we are again. Can we talk about podcast? Can we talking about something Halloween-y, a little late, Kristen? We did the Buffy episode, but
Just
we're
a little late.
A little late on this one. I looked into it. Techrat is an episode that actually did air on October 30th, 1987, but our schedule put it smack dab in the middle of March. So, Halloween, you know how they do Christmas in July? This is Halloween in March that we're doing today.
Yeah, perfect. Hey, we can't plan for every little, snag and snafu. Like when we started our podcast over a year ago. I guess we should have started in October. We couldn't have known that. There are very few themed episodes.
This also brings me back to the point of when we talked about in Die Hard of there being, no Christmas episode of Jem. Or no, in Music is Magic we talked about that. Where I probably would... Maybe the Shangri-La episode is the Christmas episode of Jem.
Maybe. Let's see how racist we can get with it, in the Christmas spirit.
This episode, of course, belongs to the series we often use very Halloween-y descriptors for, that neon nightmare, that pastel phantasm, that oh-so-fashionably frightening 80s cartoon air quotes classic, Jem and the Holograms. I am a dynamite spooky night. My name is Joe.
I hate Halloween. I'm Kristen.
And we are watching Jem and the Holograms via Jem and the Holograms' truly outrageous complete series box set, as well as the wonderful world of Netflix. Kristen, what do we got going on this week with Netflix?
So I watched all of the Brazilian dystopian Netflix original series, 3%, and I commented on Twitter that every single character who is from, the nice dystopian part of the world, they look like they were playing Supermarket Sweep inside of an H&M in the future.
Supermarket Sweep is a pretty deep cut, Kristen. Did you actually know that?
Did I know it's a deep cut? No, or I wouldn't have said it.
How much Supermarket Sweep have you actually watched?
Very little. I remember when I was super young, occasionally catching it immediately after I came home from school and thinking, why do they always go for the turkey?
Was that on UPN, was Supermarket Sweep?
I don't even know what UPN is.
Oh my god, Kristen. UPN used to be PAX, maybe? Or PAX became... Kristen, local channels are they're a mess in the 90s with UPN and things like that, so I don't know.
Is that the channel that used to have that kind of Nickelodeon game show wannabe?
I have no idea what that even is.
Ah, crap. I wish I could remember the name of it. I remember it was a very bad-looking closed set. Upon reflection, of course. I didn't realize that at the time. And they used to play games to grab gold coins.
That's so weird. I only know that I'm pretty sure UPN merged with WB to become the CW.
Wow. Man, that was a long time ago. I don't know how deep my cuts are. Anyway, 3% is good.
Good to know. This week, as I said, is Halloween flavored. It is Trick or Techrat, which, Kristen, I'm pretty sure you pointed out when we did the little episode preview at the end of last episode. Techrat has very little to do with this episode. He's there, and he's, doing, machinations from the shadows, pretty much, but he's, Eric has more screen time than him. Rio has more screen time. Basically every character that's not Techrat has more screen time than him in this episode.
Yeah, this episode probably should have been called Trick or Terry.
But Krista, people don't know who Terry be.
Yeah, well, based on his minimal amount of screen time in this, with his face showing, they probably don't know who Techrat is either.
Terry's got the most scream time in this episode. And with that horrible joke, on with the episode. This episode, we start off here. It is written by Misty Stewart Taggart, who, if you remember, Kristen, wrote Aztec Enchantment. I think that's all I need to say.
Yep.
We start on a dark night. We're panning down to Starlight Mansion with everyone watching a horror movie. We have a vampire man here.
A very slowly advancing vampire man.
I'm going to make you mine, and you will live with me forever. I don't know why I'm doing the Bela Lugosi accent, because he's not doing that.
Nah, he just has a kind of vaguely affected voice, but otherwise just kind of hey, Netflix and chill.
Some woman in a flowy dress is trapped by the vampire man here. He's got a lot of makeup on his face, the vampire does. His hands are normal, hands, but his face...
colored?
Yeah, his face is all, just blanket white, somebody, did the makeup and did the big, puff on his face.
Man, special effects used to suck.
As the vampire man does, is like, bleh! And Ashley and Chrissy, like, burst in wearing masks at this point, and they go, bleh, too! And it scares everyone somehow.
Basically, everyone freaks the fuck out, though they don't know it. They permanently scarred an orphan in the room.
Everybody gets scared. Even Shayna, who's just like, oh, you scared us half to death. And I noticed, Kristen, Rhea says, oh, you're worse than my brothers. And she speaks without her accent for maybe the first time since Aztec Enchantment. So Missy Stewart-Taggart turning off Rhea's accent as she turned it on.
It's like they got back to her and she was like, oh shit, you were still doing that? Let's just go ahead and nip that in the bud.
Ashley says it's all in good fun in preparation for Halloween, but there's somebody here who isn't laughing. And we're introduced to Terry, Scaredy Cat.
We enter Terry, Kristen's gem conduit.
All the other orphans shed on her immediately, like, oh, you're so scared. I bet you still believe in ghosts and goblins.
Ghosts and goblins.
Ghosts and little green goblins.
And little green goblins.
Kimber arrives, and we get a weird exchange here, where it's just like, hey, Jerica, Rio says he's here looking for Gem. And Jerica's like, he's looking for me, and Kimber's like, he's looking for Gem.
We don't come back to this. Which I think is a mistake.
I don't understand why, and we'll get to that in a second, but yeah, this basically breaks up the movie party as Shayna and Rhea leave. Jerica orders the orphans to bed, and Jerica just changes into Gem in the middle of the hallway, so the next episode, we're gonna see just all of this is gonna finally come back to bite her, I guess, but...
Yeah, it's taking us this long, and now finally, in the next episode, someone is going to find out who Gem is.
Rio is here, he's wearing his shitty cobblestone sweater, and...
Oh good, ready for Halloween, looking ugly as fuck! He's going... for Halloween, as ugly as fuck.
And Rio's just like, yeah, I thought I'd swing by to give you girls a ride. And they all point out, hey, Rio, it's like late. It's very late. We don't usually go for rides this late.
Rio begins to walk out and twists his neck so much to face them behind his shoulder like a goddamn owl. And he says, oh, I thought you would be interested in a little adventure. Hoo-hoo.
Who are you? Hoo-hoo.
Hoot-hoot, hoot-hoot. I'm not crazy, right? He twisted his head a lot.
I didn't notice, Kristen, I'll be honest.
It was a lot.
I don't know what the fuck Gem is wearing here. I described it as she's wearing the Cookie Monster puppet as like a, over her midriff, basically.
Yeah, Gem wears a lot of ugly shit in this episode, but here she's dressing like a fucking Muppet.
So they all take the bait, basically, of Rio just being like, oh, I thought you wanted to go on an adventure, not with my girlfriend.
Why couldn't he just explain to them what they were doing?
I don't know. I don't understand. But anyway, they head off. Rio's driving his red van, the red Rio van. And now in order to provide exposition, Rio's just like, so, you know about the old opera house?
And Gem's like, yeah, it's dangerous as shit and has been closed for years.
So we have ourselves another old building under threat of destruction story here, as Rio says that, oh, well, they gotta pay the back taxes, or they're gonna sell it to the highest bidder. And I think Aja or somebody jumps to the conclusion of, but somebody might destroy it. Not somebody from, a historical society would preserve it. It's immediately, if it gets sold, somebody's gonna fucking demolish it.
Hey, they turn out to be right, don't they?
They turn out to be right. And it's too bad that Gem and company spent all their fucking excess cash on K-Gem, and how's that going for you, huh?
I bet they feel really good about that decision now that an opera house is under threat.
That beautiful old building has to be saved, Gem says, with more determination than she's ever shown for anything ever.
Especially small children.
Rio takes the opportunity to flaunt that he's on the local board he's on the local board of the Historical Preservation League?
How many, side things does Rio do?
I'm a pilot, I'm a lights guy, I can sound engineer, whatever, bro. Historical Preservation League.
The only thing he can't do is build his own synthesizer. Fucking idiot.
What can we do to help? Asks Gem as we fade to the opera house. We're basically foregone the answer as Rio suggests that it's like, Rio basically suggests in the interim here, you should have a benefit concert. And of course Gem thinks it's a great idea because we need to time music into this somehow.
Are they capable of doing anything else to raise money?
Shouldn't this be an idea that's run through Jerica, the person who's not here?
What?
Rhea asks what they're doing, what are we doing here at midnight, Rio, basically, and Rio goes, the owner is kind of being about it, and he said it's required that we needed to meet him at midnight, which Frederick Vincent is a bit of an eccentric. I don't understand why he needed to, I don't know why, did he need to he doesn't really even, put on a show for them or anything.
No, they have a 1-minute conversation.
Inside the opera house, there's either, plastic all over everything, or there's a shitload of cobwebs, which I can understand why it's being fucking sold if it looks like this.
Yeah. Does not look great. It's a giant opera house. A giant Trick Fun House Opera House. One man lives there with a cat.
There's also a bell tolling on a giant grandfather clock when they get in, and I don't know if this is supposed to be, like, suspense.
It's the fucking Dark Hour from Persona 3.
I don't know if this is supposed to be suspenseful, because it's like Jem gasps, and they get like 9 shots of every character looking at the clock.
They're all like, holy shit, it's a clock!
And then Frederick Vincent comes out, and is wearing a Dracula cape and a suit with like shitty patches all over it. And Ray is the first person to point out, wait a minute, you were the vampire man in the movie!
I recognize you, because you're literally wearing the same outfit. Just older and shittier.
Frederick Vincent, Kristen, is now so old and washed up that he lives in this opera house.
And again, we get this weird sob story where someone's like, I can't afford to pay this thing that I'm legally required to pay. And everyone's like, you poor motherfucker!
What is it that attracts, like, all these washed-up people to Jem, where she's just, like, again, paragon of virtue, where she just grabs their shoulders and just like, I'm gonna fix your life!
Yeah, this ends up working out a little bit better. Like, I don't know if the planning of writing the episode helped it along, but I was thinking to myself, like, okay, so they're gonna hold a benefit to help him pay the taxes. He doesn't have a fucking job, then what? For how much longer will they pay these taxes? Forever? I don't fucking think so.
Rio says that they can help Frederick Vincent, and he's just immediately like, this is my problem. Then why did you take the meeting? Why are we here?
Because I want to be a weirdo at midnight.
Jem asks for permission to do a concert on Halloween Eve, which, we don't really go further than that. I mean, the episode was on October 30th, so technically it would be Halloween Eve then, correct?
Great.
This turns Frederick Vincent around immediately, and he goes, a noble plan! You have my permission, and my gratitude.
Rio made it sound like it was going to be a lot harder than this.
Did we need to come at midnight, really?
We asked you a question, you said, okay, we're going to go to bed. Fuck you.
Fade to the next day. Jericho wants everyone to pitch in as we're at just Starlight House doing stuff here. Orphans are carving pumpkins. Dance is here, and she's just like, I'm going to choreograph a Halloween-themed dance. Are you? Because it looks pretty normal when we see it later.
I'm going to put on a costume and then do the thing I usually do.
And it's barely a costume.
Yeah, it's really just a weird black and orange pattern, but Shayna is sitting down, like, everyone states their purpose to the camera, basically, and Shayna's like, I'm gonna design some deliciously haunting costumes.
We see them later. The only one that's deliciously haunting, I think, would be Kimber, and deliciously lazy would be Rhea.
Yeah, right. Shayna ran out of time. She had too many costumes to make. She
spent too much time with Ashley being just like, I want to be the pirate! I want to be the pirate man! Give me the pirate man costume!
She had to carefully apply Ashley's fake facial hair.
Ashley wants to be something really scary, and when we see that she's the pirate man later... And then she giggles mischievously before going, boo! And shoving a mask in Terry's face, which produces enough force to knock her back on her ass and the pumpkin off the table.
And it shatters like glass instead of like crumbling like a pumpkin, but okay.
And Terry's just going, I hate Halloween! I hate Halloween! Terry, you've got to learn to not take scary things so seriously.
So Ashley and Jem are my two least favorite kinds of people on Halloween. Hey, Joe.
Yes?
We're gonna play It's Fun to Be Scared.
Yes.
It's not fucking fun to be scared, in my opinion.
Song number 1 of the evening. It's fun to be scared. And we'll be playing that for you right now.
A little fright can be alright. A sudden chill will give you a thrill. A spooky night can be dynamite. It's fun to be scared. It's fun to be scared. Oh, fun to be scared. Hey, hey, fun to be scared. Creaky door means fun galore. A witch's brew can do it to you. A lightning flash or a monster bash. It's fun to be scared. It's fun to be scared. Oh, fun to be scared. Hey, hey, fun to be scared. Oh no, it's fun to be scared. A little fright can be alright. It's just a charade, so don't be afraid. It's fun to be scared.
So that was It's Fun to Be Scared, Kristen, and what a fucking song that is.
It's a little bit condescending, isn't it?
I think It's Fun to Be Scared is hilarious. In the same way that, not necessarily in this, because obviously we deign different sorts of humor from I'm Coming From Behind, where it's not a great song, but it's so stupid that I love it.
I like what they're going for, because it's a thing where I am afraid of Halloween now in a different way than I was when I was a little kid, where me dressed as Tinkerbell in first grade, boys in scream masks would come up behind me and poke me because they knew it would scare me. Now, things like, okay, I live in Philadelphia, so the Eastern State Penitentiary is right here in the city. It's a real old jail that they do normal tours on during the year, and then during Halloween, they do one of the scariest haunted attractions in the United States. And it gets real intense, and I never want to do that. Like, I don't like the little kid tier haunted house ride at Knoebels.
Hey, Kristen, that's a scary ride.
It is. I don't like things jumping out at me. I don't like being startled. I relate to Terry.
Knoebels is an amusement park in central Pennsylvania, for those of you who may not know. And it's amazing, and it's great, and they got free parking, so I'm cool with it.
It's real old and real fun. Lots of stuff made of wood. If you like going on roller coasters that shake your brain in your head, Knoebels.
I want to go back to Knoebels.
Me too.
So we start here, we've got Terry walks over to a pumpkin being carved that, like, roars at her, and then suddenly they're flying on a pumpkin to the moon!
Yo! So I do relate to Terry, but she is kind of chicken shit.
Can we just, before we go on with the visuals here, I just want to talk about the lyrics to It's Fun to Be Scared real quick, which I made
Go
sure
right
to write
ahead.
down.
Rap
So,
to me.
Alright, first line, not too bad here. A little fright can be alright. A sudden chill will give you a thrill. Alright, pretty good if you're, like, going to see a horror movie. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A spooky night can be dynamite. What are we doing here? Okay, wait a minute.
What the fuck?
I understand that you need to rhyme in a song,
It is
but...
the 80s.
was there some, like, big thing against Halloween where it's just like, oh, Halloween's too scary for the kids now? It's like, no, it's fun to be scared. Hey, hey.
Again, I really feel like this sort of song was made for a young Kristen who didn't like Halloween. Now I like Halloween. I just don't like being fucking startled.
So, and then we get the ridiculous line of the song, which if you're paying attention, I'm sure you heard. A creepy door means fun galore, comma, a witch's brew can do it to you. What? What the fuck are we talking about anymore?
Oh, which is woo.
Oh, this fucking song is so stupid.
See, I can't hear this song or think about this song without considering the connection we made between this and Surprise Surprise. And how this is supposed to be all good fun, but Surprise Surprise is shitty.
Where, yeah, it's, do you like surprises? Well, I've got one for you. And yeah, if the Misfits are, blasting you with a fire hose that looks like a cobra, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a little worse than a creaky door can mean fun galore.
This is a homemade haunted house. Surprise Surprise is a can of peanuts with a snake inside of it.
We have things like, Terry is like, there's the creepy door, creaky door here.
Whoa!
Blown open and closed and whatever in the music video. Terry opens it and there's a laughing witch at a cauldron making her witch's woo. And a Frankenstein that turns out to be a cardboard cutout that Ashley is carrying.
Great.
One thing I noticed, Bonnie is making caramel apples.
Good.
Also, we have at one point in the song, the Blender. No, she's the Blender. Blender and the Bears Are Silly orphan walk over in masks and in this casual stance. It's like a witch mask and like a mummy mask or something stupid like that. But they're just kind of looking at Terry, and Terry is cowering behind Jerrica.
We're really small monsters.
She runs down a hallway and she thinks she sees some ghost, but Jerrica's just like, look at you, dumbass, it's just curtains. It's fun to be scared.
Fake. Ah!
Terry seems like she's getting used to it because she ends the music video smiling, even though it's, Terry doesn't really improve until the very end of the episode.
We find out that this isn't even the root of the problems because it turns out she's also incredibly superstitious.
See, it's all in fun, Jerrica says, and Terry just kind of goes, maybe, before the scene switches. And that's where we leave that for now.
So we get a tentative maybe from the orphan, and they still decide to bring her along to the spook-em-ups.
We cut to the opera house here. There are people working on the facade of the opera house. I think, are they painting it? I don't even know.
I don't know. Cleaning it, getting some of them cobwebs down.
Jem and Rio look over the progress, and they all just start to lead the orphans inside, and Terry's just like, I can't go in there, look at the address! 1313!
1313.
And Ashley's just like, get the fuck in there! Get in there!
Ashley doesn't have time for her superstitious bullshit. Also, again, it is 1313. 1313. Come on, that's not the same thing as the straight up number 13.
We cut to the What I described as the Raymond family basement.
Well, is it a family if there's only 2 of them?
They're the only family they got left, Kristen.
I know, it's so sad.
Techrat is wearing his fucking $6 million man suit here, and I don't know what... We go off of this immediately. Again, a lot of things where it's just like, wait a minute, can we explore this further in this episode?
We straight up interrupt family bonding time.
Where Techrat's just like, watch this! And he presses a button, and a robotic hand comes out of a box, and then Pizzazz just like...
starts to do a jerk-off motion.
And Pizzazz just like kicks the door open. And is just like, forget that fucking plot line, look at this! As she throws a newspaper down, and it's a headline of basically like, oh, you know, the holograms throw benefit concert for Opera House.
And Eric does what Jem should probably do more often when she hears about the Misfits doing things, and goes, so what?
So what are you gonna do about it?
And Eric is like, I can't remove headlines from the paper. How about you do something newsworthy?
I think that the Misfits should just go on vacation anytime Jem starts attempting to do anything newsworthy. Or go play... How about that fucking Misfits Music East from Old Meets New? Why don't they go back over there and play in New York or something?
Pop over to the East Coast so they don't have to compete as much with Jem.
Eric's response is basically to pull out a business card and be like, here, I'm hanging out with my son, so please go talk to this guy. Please.
Because by making their own headlines, Stormer, and I thought he was going to tell her no, Stormer out loud goes, have our own Halloween concert, which is not where I would have gone.
No, I'm sorry, I skipped over a thing there where Eric's just like, make your own headlines, and Stormer just says, oh, we're going to put on our own concert, and before Eric can say no, Pizzazz just takes the idea, and it's just like, well, now it's reality. The Fabulous Misfits present Midnight Madness!
Her mind works at a mile a minute.
And here is where Eric is just like, please take this business card and get the fuck out of here. I'm spending time with my son. I only have him on weekends.
Just go. He's really onto something with this robot jerk-off hand thing.
The Misfits head off to see Terrence Landau, the man on the business card, the man that Eric said will finance the concert.
And Pizzazz is a little bit perplexed because she's like, so you're going to finance our concert, but you're in real estate?
He's a real estateman, but they both want to see Jem's concert fail, because Terrence has some much more Old Meets New plans. Because, as he, just with his fucking delusions of godhood here, as he gets up and walks over to his window, he's just like, that opera house ruins my beautiful skyline.
I would understand more if he were, like, the mayor or something. But he's just some dude in real estate who's like, this city belongs to me.
I don't know if they want to make the mayor of LA a bad guy.
Who gives a shit?
Terrence knows just who to bribe to get the opera house once it gets auctioned off, and then he's gonna demolish it. And Pizzazz, once again, Pizzazz is very good at co-opting lines of other bad guys and turning it into her own thing of, and we'll demolish Jem and the holograms!
Any violent-sounding word, she's like, and then we will also do that!
So we fade to Lindsay's van. She's on location at LA's famous old opera house.
Great! It doesn't have a name?
Lindsay's here to interview Jem, because Jem can't do a fucking single thing without Lindsay hot on her ass.
She smells them scoops. Obviously, Bonnie is tipping her off.
The Misfits walk into a live broadcast, because of course they do, and Lindsay isn't necessarily thrilled with this. They basically hijack the interview, nobody objects at this point, and I realized that I thought that Jem was out in the crowd. I don't think she was. I think everybody's inside and Lindsay's just hanging out outside waiting for Jem, maybe.
Yeah, she's just outside the opera house being like, I've heard Jem is in there.
So Jenna turns the cameraman towards a blow-up dome across the street on this, I guess, vacant lot, where the Misfits are going to have their Midnight Madness concert.
And Lindsay is like, well, this is live television. I guess there's going to be 2 concerts on Halloween, fans.
And then Pizzazz just snatches the microphone again, and it's just like, no. There's going to be 1. And I'm going to tell everybody my plan here that we're going to basically sabotage the opera house. Goodbye!
Bye-bye, it's not safe. Get out. Bye!
We fade to inside the opera house at this point, and here's where I said, so Lindsay was just hanging out outside to just do some gotcha journalism on Jem, probably. I also noted, we're about 8 minutes into the episode at this point, and it is still segment 1.
God!
Jem asks Rio if the building is safe, and Rio, building expert, says it's completely structurally sound.
Historical Preservation Board member, Flight Club member, pilot, lightsman, building expert. Rio Pacheco.
Taken 2 architecture classes.
I'm an expert. Yeah, like how I'm an expert in anthropology.
They head over to watch Dance practice her number. Terry is clinging to Dance for some reason, and gasps as Dance so callously walks under a ladder. It's bad luck!
Why was Terry on stage in the first place? Because Dance sends her down.
Why is Terry here? Why are the only orphans important enough to come to this are Ashley, and I think Bonnie is there, and Terry?
They couldn't bring one of the orphans that wasn't afraid of Halloween.
They couldn't bring Blender?
I want to see Blender dressed up as a blender.
Why doesn't Blender get to do anything fun?
Because she did that goofy thing with the blender that one time.
Grounded for life.
Ah.
Oh, that's only a superstition, Dance says before a cardboard tree snaps and all the tendons in her leg bust again.
And that turns out to be a pretty accurate prediction of what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we'll see as that happens here, but Dance assures Terry that it's alright and just go shut up and sit down and watch me dance.
So yeah, it's at this point that I'm imagining, especially with all of the very deliberate cuts to the gigantic cardboard Jackie O lanterns, right by her.
Where's the pillbox hats, Kristen?
I don't know, they're not very good Jackie O lanterns. But I started having flashbacks and being like, so something's gonna fall on her like it did in Dance Time, right?
So Dance starts dancing, there's no background music as she's doing it, and the cardboard pumpkin starts falling. And these are way more dangerous than cardboard trees, of course.
So we get about 6 different shots of the world crashing down around Dance, and her definitely breaking all of the tendons in her other leg.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside. End of segment 1 here.
It all comes tumbling down.
Segment 2 starts. Dan's managed to thread the needle here, falling, or standing in a position to where the eye hole of the pumpkin set kinda, it's like the joke of the fucking raising the barn and it falls over and the person standing in the spot where, the top window
Yeah,
does...
like in the Amish Paradise video.
The Amish... Yeah, there we go, perfect. Good thing this pumpkin cutout has large eyes, Dan says as she swears to never fucking work with Jem again, if this is gonna happen every time, why would she?
First time coming back since the other accident.
Rio says that, this was no accident, these chains were cut by... This is something a human couldn't do, I think he says, which is stupid.
A ghost did it! Or maybe some fucking bolt cutters did it?
I don't know, a human's not gonna be ripping these chains unless they're the fucking Incredible Hulk.
Tools exist, Rio.
Terry attributes this happening to bad luck. She walked onto the fucking ladder. Oh my god. And does the cat run across them at this point, or is that later?
That's later.
Okay. Frederick Vincent is here, and he's, across the way, and he's just kind of like, this building is filled with ghosts and evil spirits. Leave now, before it's too late.
Yeah, he shouts into the void a little bit, and then just walks backwards out of the room.
And Jem's like, what? Huh?
And he comes back out and yells it again, and then leaves.
The acoustics in here are terrible for an opera house.
Weird. Maybe we should tear it down.
We're not trying to scar the kid as well. Fucking take it easy, Frederick Vincent. Not Frederick Vincent, who we will find is not Frederick Vincent.
Whatever. Yeah, Jem's like, we're not quitters! And doesn't even think until later that it's weird Frederick Vincent would be like, yo, this place is evil as shit, go!
But no time for that. We fade to Jem and company. They're cleaning up a chandelier. Kristen, there's a lot in this episode of just, is there nobody standing at the door? Because the Misfits just barge in. They just come in.
The Misfits just come and hang out for a bit.
They do. And Jetta, I want to note, is dressed like a bellboy with a skirt.
Great.
She's got the pillbox hat, but it's on, the top of her head and not the side of her head. So it's not
floating
a Jackie
on
O
the
hat.
bird part of herself.
Pizzazz brought a building inspector with her. And this dude, who I don't think we get his name, he isn't someone, obviously evil, it's just a normal person. That Pizzazz thought this plan would work, where it's so structurally not sound that the inspector would just come in and be like, holy fuck, you gotta get out of here!
Yeah, I think Pizzazz genuinely believes the building is just a piece of shit.
He's just she didn't even attempt to bribe him or anything.
Nope.
But then again, we do know that bribery is the nicest thing that Pizzazz ever tried to do, and this dude is certainly no Stormer.
Nah, he's small peanuts. He's not worth it.
Rio will show the inspector around, and he just kind of goes, I think you'll find everything's up to code.
Well, if not, you young folks are in a heap of trouble. You're going to building jail. Opera jail.
You're gonna build the jail that you're gonna be staying in.
Oh no! And because it's gonna be built shoddily, it's gonna crumble and you'll die under it.
I hope one of you is an architect, and Rio's just kind of like, yes! Yes!
Nice. That was 3 credits I took in college are coming in handy.
The Misfits invite the holograms to their concert, which is nice of them, considering the holograms can just trash the entire fucking scene if the opera concert does not go through.
Yeah, so there you go. Pizzazz throws some tickets at them.
We fade to the inspector. He didn't find anything, but he'll be back for a final check, which doesn't make sense.
I'm hungry. I'm gonna take a break.
I don't think that's how building inspection works. But I'll be back in a day. Let me know. Do you know where I can get a good knish around here?
You don't? Ugh, fine. I'll find it myself.
If he finds anything wrong, he's gonna close the place down before they can say, trick or Techrat! Trick or treat, excuse me.
Trick or Terry.
Isn't Techrat supposed to be in this episode?
He's still working hard on that jerk-off robot. His magnum opus.
Everyone admires the chandelier before Rio starts bringing it back up towards the ceiling. I realized I forgot the word raising. Like, I was like, what is the opposite of lowering when writing that note? And I only came to it later. So they're raising the chandelier back up. The Misfits are still hanging out. And Pizzazz is kind of mad that the inspector didn't find anything because I fucking didn't attempt to bribe him or anything. So I don't know what the hell... I don't know what her plan is.
Just as Jeddah is beginning to make her very Jeddah suggestion that if there aren't any problems, they make some, a mummy hand comes out of the thing they're standing in front of?
So we learn later that all of this is being caused by a combination of Terrence Real Estate, Eric, and Techrat. And I'm gonna assume that Eric and Terrence were talking about shady business things, and Techrat's just, like, looking around like, what's going on? Oh, they're the Misfits. Let me scare them.
See, I just don't like them.
Pizzazz goes, this place is haunted! And we get song number 2 of the evening, Don't Look Now, which, Kristen, let me tell you about Don't Look Now for a second.
Sure.
Don't Look Now is an alright song. I'm with it. I'm with it a good amount of time until we get to the line of Don't Look Now. This place is haunted. Fuck, you ruined it. What? What the fuck?
You already said that, Pizzazz. Joe, I have a question that I can't stop thinking about.
Please.
Can mummies haunt things? Don't mummies just live places?
Isn't it a mummy's curse, though? Like, is it technically the haunting?
Would you call a mummy's curse a haunting? Also, is there proof of a mummy's curse, or just that a mummy is hanging out?
I thought that's, like, the big thing with the mummy movies, is there's, like, the old pharaoh. I don't know. Okay, first of all, I'm pretty sure, like, the first Universal Monster mummy movie, there's very little of a dude in bandages. It's literally, like, Boris Karloff is an ancient Egyptian guy who's come back to life, I think. And that's what the curse is, and it just slowly transformed into a dude wrapped in bandages.
Say, I feel like this is very similar to saying that, like, you're being haunted by a vampire.
A vampire can't haunt you. No, that can't happen.
Yeah, it just sounds wrong to me.
You can't be haunted by a Frankenstein either.
You cannot be haunted by a Frankenstein.
You could be pursued by one maybe, but not haunted.
Yeah, one can shamble behind you, but I would not say it's haunting you.
So wait a minute. Okay, if we want to get down to it, I'd say a mummy's curse would not technically be a haunting then, I don't think.
It's a curse.
It's a curse. There. A ghost can haunt you.
Can a ghost also curse you?
Is there a witch involved?
A witch can curse you. A witch does not haunt you.
A witch doesn't have anything to do with the mummy's curse either, because that's all Egyptian shit.
A werewolf can't haunt or curse. No, a werewolf curse does exist.
Well, that depends on... Well, wait a minute. Okay, so what... Let's lay it all on the table here. Halloween things, when it comes to getting haunted by something, is it only ghosts? Are we drawing the line at ghosts can only haunt?
Do we include spirits in ghosts?
I guess. Spirits and ghosts are basically... Because spirits can a ghost possess someone? Is that my question?
Well, I don't think anything else can, so I would say yes.
So, but a spirit can possess you.
A demon can also possess you.
Fuck! Oh my god! There's so many...
How deep does it go?
There's so many layers to Halloween canon, Kristen. How did we not know?
I guess we were too distracted into thinking that it's fun to be scared, when it's actually quite serious to be scared.
I gotta get the fucking Necronomicon or something to decipher this.
Hang on, let me get my book bound in human flesh.
One thing about Don't Look Now, we've seen a few episodes like this, where the holograms have a song, and then the Misfits have a song that's basically giving the opposite message of that. Uh-huh. And where It's Fun to Be Scared was the hologram song that was stupid and dumb and idiotic. Don't Look Now is basically you should be scared of stuff.
The Misfits just realized ghosts are real and they're not happy about it.
The message of the song is be paranoid.
I can relate to that. Don't trust anyone, especially haunted opera houses.
As far as the imagery of the song itself, we got, there's ghost clothing, lights go out, cat eyes turn into a ghost, whatever, cat turns into a keyhole, skeleton mummy, there's a backdrop blocking the exit, blah, blah, blah. Don't Look Now is a song that is, again, completely ruined by the line of "This place is haunted," because then that makes it so they can't use it in any other fucking episode.
Yeah.
Unless we go back to the haunted house theme.
And man, speaking of using different songs, I was really surprised that We Can Change It worked decently for this episode. I forgot what the words were to that song.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Jem's a wizard.
The song ends here. The chandelier is still going up, so that song happened in the span of seconds, basically. So that clearly means that Pizzazz just said this place is haunted, and we had a How Does It Feel moment where the entire song played in her head, and then just we're back to reality. And it's just like, oh shit, what, Oh, right, haunted, we gotta get out of here.
Anyway, I guess the Misfits' commotion causes a black cat to scamper by Terry.
For some reason at this point as well, the mechanism raising the chandelier just starts to go haywire. That's why I remembered the word raising.
Rio fucks it up.
The chandelier crashes down and Rhea has to, pull Terry out of the way. Like, fucking Kimber, she's just standing there gawking like the last episode, but this time, thankfully, there's not electric wires falling. It's just a chandelier.
If I knew that a very large, very glass chandelier was on a sort of mechanism that, pulls it up and lowers it down, and, that's how they do it, I wouldn't stand underneath it, even if it looked steady.
Shouldn't there be, a hand crank for these things as well? Like an emergency system, as just in case the electronic mechanism fails, you could grab it. And I don't know.
Fail-safe!
So, here's the thing. I don't know how
heavy... What kind
of
cartoon do you think this is?
A chandelier's probably pretty heavy, and this is going to be one of those things where the crank is going to be, spinning really fast, and if Rio tries to grab it, it's going to, dislocate his shoulder, probably, because of
Just rip both arms off entirely.
Because of the force of glass falling, but I still think it should be there.
There should probably be some kind of automatic lock that just slips into place when it starts falling at a speed that it shouldn't be.
Yeah, which even then, because of, it might end up fucking Gwen Stacying itself, but at least that's not breaking the entire thing.
Yeah, it's a chandelier, not a person standing underneath the chandelier.
Even Rio is starting to think at this point that there are supernatural forces at work, and Terry is just like, oh, I told you so! It's haunted! And Frederick Vincent is here again, and he's just like, aha, that's right! It is haunted! Goodbye!
Yeah, the holograms start to go, were you fucking kidding me? And Jerrica's like, no, we're gonna do it! And they turn back and as he has just said his piece and gone, bye-bye. Yeah, Frederick Vincent isn't there. And they're like, what the fuck? Well, we weren't looking, he probably just left!
Jerrica also goes, as they're, all doing the thing of just like, we're not gonna leave, we're gonna put on the concert. Jerrica goes, right on, girls.
There's a little bit of pet namey stuff in this episode with Jerrica that I'm not used to.
So Jerrica finally realizes that it's not beneficial for Frederick Vincent to be trying to fucking sabotage the concert, and Rio is just kind of like, I didn't think about that either. There must be something fishy going on here.
I don't care if you do a benefit, I don't want to pay my fucking taxes.
Fuck the man, woo!
Woo! The scariest thing of all is capitalism.
We cut to Halloween Eve night. There are people outside of both the Dome and the Opera House here. Let's go over the Misfits costumes real quick, Kristen. If you could even call them mostly they're all dressed like fighting game characters, first of all.
Yeah, basically. Roxy looks like a Saiyan.
Roxy's got knockoff Saiyan armor on. Pizzazz is living up to her screaming devil woman thing, being dressed basically as Sindel from Mortal Kombat.
She has a sort of weird webbed armpit thing going on.
Yeah, like original Spider-Man. I don't know why that is, but she's got that going on. Stormer looks like she's wearing some kind of fucking, a motorcycle jacket. I put it as some kind of cami variant, basically. And Jeddah is just Elvira with red fringe. Not that Elvira was ever in a fighting game.
They at least look kind of like rock stars dressing up for Halloween, whereas Gem and the Holograms just kind of look like assholes.
They just look like goobers.
Yeah, especially Kimber.
Pizzazz comments that they haven't seen Eric for days, which, Kristen, how safe maybe they don't want Eric fucking up their business, probably. So, if your manager was suddenly gone for days after you just the last time you saw him, he was with his son testing out a jerk-off robot. What,
Are you asking if I would notice he was gone, and if I did, if I would care that he might be dead?
Via jerk-off robot.
Oh, wow. What a way to go. I don't think Pizzazz is worried.
No, she's not. Jeddah comments that he's surely well be the Invisible Man, ain't he?
Man, Jeddah goes nuts dropping her H's in this episode.
Lando hasn't been around either. Bazez throws up her arms in anger, saying they're all useless, and here's where we see the Spider-Man webbing under her arms here.
Great.
And we cut to the holograms, whose costumes, again, are all fine. All pretty okay, except for Rhea, who is a mummy. Yes, where she just looks like it's the... Shayna was just like, oh, fuck, somebody get me some gauze.
I need some toilet paper. Kimber looks like the Green Arrow, but dead.
Kimber is a hooded Skella woman, and she refers to Aja as a goulette, who she's wearing, like, Bride of Frankenstein hair, kind of.
Sure.
It's basically Elvira hair, just with, like a white streak in it, I guess. And Shayna's got a sexy devil lady costume on that...
with no horns, because of course not.
Just the tail, of course.
It's a children's cartoon.
I thought she was a vampire at first until I saw the tail.
Vampires okay, let's write this down. Vampires do not have tails. Werewolves do have tails.
And Jem is a witch.
Great.
She doesn't even bother changing her hair. She's just like, hey, I'm Jem. I'm wearing a witch costume. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know why, but in my head, after you said 1, 2, 3, 4, I heard the little green goblin organ music. The fans are really getting in the mood. They're all wearing outrageous costumes, Jem says as she walks in. And it's a Halloween concert, Jem. Are you a dumbass? They probably already had costumes. Calm down.
So a ghoul comes on a screen here. A little green goblin comes on the screen at this point. And...
oh, no. And he does a little dance.
And he warns them if they take the stage tonight, it'll be their last performance.
So we see the Will Boo Ghoul on the screen for a split second before it pans over to Jem and the holograms just kind of cowering in the corner, and it holds on them, just kind of like turn their heads back and forth like, for like a solid 15 seconds? And the segment fades out there.
Yeah, segment 2 ends with all the holograms cowering here. And segment 3 starts with them still cowering. One thing, I wasn't paying attention to the way the ghoul was talking, but it's clear from the laughter when it comes back that Charlie Adler is providing the laughter from the ghoul at the beginning of segment 3.
You want spooky laughter in your series, you get Charlie Adler.
The screen cracks at this point of the window or whatever it's being projected on, and the holograms all wonder, well, what the hell that was about, because it certainly wasn't the Misfits.
I wonder if watching this cartoon in the 80s, that was a little bit more mysterious, because in my mind I see this thing that is like the size of most of the entire wall in the dressing room, and I see something appear on it, and I think to myself, it's a big television screen.
Yeah, because I'm not sure. Because I thought about it, and I was like, well...
They definitely didn't have wall-mounted things like that.
Not that were the length of the entire room. That's like way wider than 16 by 9, too, so...
I guess it was supposed to be a mirror, except we're never shown any reflections in it. So, okay, cartoon, I guess I just have to take your word for it.
Kristen, the holograms are all vampires, clearly.
Write that down.
We cut to Dance practicing. She's wearing her Halloween costume, which is like a Halloween color checkerboard leotard and like an eye mask, and that's it.
Yeah, I thought she was supposed to be a Halloween-y cat, but no, she just is an asshole with a mask on.
We see that Terry is Raggedy Ann, which I believe I read that I think Hasbro owns Raggedy Ann, so they were able to do that. I mean, not that they say that she's Raggedy Ann, but you know.
Mm-hmm. It's very clearly what she is.
And Ashley's a pirate man.
Cool. Very scary. There's nothing scarier than scurvy.
The lights start flickering, and there's more evil laughter. Jem gets all vengeful. She's just like, I've had enough of these tricks, she says, fists balled. Still, again, like, really... Jem's really, like, gung-ho in this episode.
She also doesn't know that they're tricks, and I guess we're assuming that she's just gonna go find a ghost to punch. You can't punch a ghost, Jem. Write that down.
Unless you have that ring in Dark Souls that lets you punch the ghosts.
Okay, write that down, too.
Terry thinks that it is ghosts and it's not tricks, and she runs off backstage, only to fall down a trapdoor. She comes across, like, a sarcophagus or something, right?
It's like a fucking... gargoyle. I knew it was another G word, but I couldn't think of it. It's not ghoul, it's not goblin. Gargoyle.
A gargoyle.
Gargoyle.
And she falls down a trapdoor, and we get into later, Kristen, I don't know what's going on with the architecture of this opera house, but we'll get to that.
Not me neither. Also, why was her first instinct to run further into the creepy opera house instead of toward the exit?
Jem can't find Terry after she falls into the trap, and Rio's here with some more bad news, saying the building inspector's here! Oh, we got a lost orphan and a building inspector!
He's not there to inspect the orphans. Who gives a shit?
Rio also doesn't have a costume, unless you count wearing your pants fucking halfway up your waist as a costume, you old man.
I'm dressed like an asshole.
Jem tries to get Rio to stall the inspector until they find Terry, and everyone splits up, gang.
Great.
Terry ends up in a weird basement thing. Like, she falls out a laundry chute, pretty much. And is just, going, there's no such thing as ghosts, there's no such thing as ghosts.
And then she sees a weird shadowy figure that kind of makes a monstery noise at her, and she's like, a ghost! She does the ghost thing. Except, if it's, okay, Joe, write this down.
Yes.
If it's corporeal, it's not a ghost.
True, you're right. Is it a ghoul at that point?
I really don't understand what the fuck a ghoul is. I don't know what a ghoul is, and I don't know what a goblin is.
They do a little dance, that's all you know. So, Rio heads out to meet the inspector, and the inspector asks what all the evil laughter inside is, because as Rio opens the door, there's just, you hear inside just, and
Jem's practicing.
Rio says they're testing the sound system, and it's going to be a few minutes. What does this guy care? That is just like, hey, what's that evil laughter in there on Halloween Eve?
You can't go in there while we're testing the sound system because it disrupts the structural integrity of the building.
We cut to everyone still searching. Terry is running away from stuff in these catacombs here, and we hear a certain son of Eric Raymond talking with the real estate guy, and Frederick Vincent's there. Techrat's wearing a bag over his head. And
Don't look at me.
I said for some reason, Kristen, do you remember when we talked about the Gem Bible in the Kim Tacuber and how it was supposed to be a big thing where the holograms aren't supposed to know Techrat exists? Mm-hmm. And in this episode, we see the holograms do confront Techrat at one point with Eric and the other guy here, the fucking real estate man. Techrat's wearing this bag over his head so the holograms don't find out who he is, basically.
So did someone not notice him during the music awards when he was signal jamming the benefit?
Shut up. We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I fuck up your thing, Gem Bible? Danny knows Techrat's identity, and the president knows that Jerica is Gem.
Spoilers.
What the fuck ever. Techrat's just wearing a bag over his head because he's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, probably.
It's the latest style.
Yes. Eric was just like, so, ship's captain, that was so last season. You want to wear a bag over your head. That's the latest style.
And, the problem is they didn't get this tip-off from Ashley, so it's not the latest style.
He doesn't have pizzazz.
He does not have pizzazz. Pizzazz.
Pizzazz. Pizzas.
Pizzas.
And the real estate man says that ultrasonic sound was used to shatter the mirror, so there we go. It was a mirror, which means the holograms are indeed vampires because they didn't have a reflection.
Weird. Real estate man cannot keep his spook dick in his pants. And he decides he must turn up the spooks.
This guy is basically, he turns into pizzazz, where he just touches Techrat's stuff without Techrat's permission.
And they just decide to shake the entire opera house.
Terry runs across the cat again and yelps, alerting the bad guys to her presence. And so she starts running away as they kind of start running after her. The holograms all meet up on stage, and they have no idea what to do as the building is fucking rumbling, basically. And Jem goes, if the evil spirit wants us to quit, maybe we should.
Where'd your gung-ho attitude go, Jem? Did you have some problems finding ghosts to punch?
Terry finds a door with someone barred in, and we see an arm. Wait a minute, I recognize that shitty patch. It's Frederick Vincent.
Oh no, it's the vampire.
So she opens the door for him, and we find out that the Frederick Vincent that's been harassing Jem and the holograms, basically, is a fake. Now, Kristen, I really hoped that the fake Frederick Vincent was Clash.
I think it's way funnier that it's not.
I think it sucks that it's not Clash.
Well, too bad.
Terry lets him out, and the black cat jumps into his arms, and it's his cat. It's Frederick Vincent's cat named Phantom.
I'm still pretty angry about the name of this cat.
Why?
Because it's a Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, I was gonna say, I like Phantom's a good name for a cat.
It is, if you don't live in an opera house. Because now we know that cat's a music pervert.
Frederick leads Terry to the main floor through a secret passage, but the bad guys are hot on her trail. Well, I said it's the main floor. I don't know, because the everything
It turns out that there's a bunker underneath the opera house. And in fact, the entire city.
We cut outside. Rio was still trying to stall the inspector, and instead of, already putting on their concert, Pizzazz is still here, and is just kind of like, hey, Rio, what's going on? What's going on with the building? Is it gonna need to be shut down?
Is it full of ghosts, you big ghost baby?
The health inspector heads in, the misfits
The health
follow.
inspector.
The health inspector.
I need to check the quality of your corn dogs. No, you can't stop me. Get me 10.
Wait a minute, this is really old. How old are these corn dogs?
Ah, shit, they're 20 years old. No wonder they're made of stone.
This has an advertisement for Oklahoma on it. When the fuck was the last time Oklahoma was in LA?
The corn dogs are made of stone because a Medusa looked at them.
Whoa. Can you get haunted by a Medusa, Kristen?
I want to say yes.
So turning into stone counts as a haunting.
It feels right to me.
Because it depends on if you're conscious when you're stone.
Or if you die instantly because presumably your organs are all still stone.
Presumably.
It's like in Dragon Ball when Piccolo gets turned to stone and then he gets smashed. But his head is still there, so when he turns not to stone, he's okay.
I don't remember that at all.
I think that happened in the Buu Saga.
Vegeta turned to stone for some reason when he fucking exploded in the Buu Saga. I don't know why that happened.
Piccolo got better after he got turned to stone again, because if his head is still intact, he can reform his body.
Yep, and that's what made Cell so dangerous.
Wasn't that before the Buu Saga?
Yes. Cell had the cells of all the greatest fighters and shit, so he had, like, the Saiyan thing where if you get near death, you get powered up, and the fucking Namek thing of if you get basically blown up, as long as there's a little piece of you left, you can regenerate.
See, this is the Halloween episode. Now's a good time to mention that when I was little, Cell scared the shit out of me.
Really?
Oh yeah, he freaked me the fuck out. I saw him eat Android 18!
True. So, okay, yeah, the other forms of Cell were kind of scary. Perfect Cell is just like a normal dude.
Oh yeah, he got hot by then. He's a hot bug man.
And still voiced by Norio Wakamoto, so of course, amazing.
Of course. Yeah, before that, he looked like a scary bug person.
But then he turned into a hot bug dude.
Then he was a hot bug dude. He looked like he was straight out of Darkstalkers.
We cut to the catacombs at this point. There's a giant spiral staircase that goes... Kristen, I don't know
What
how...
the fuck?
I don't know how spacious this is, because it goes up for what looks like 8 or 9 floors. It's something I put as... It's akin to, like, the old Aperture sections of Portal 2, when it's just incredibly spacious.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. It looks nutso.
Jem is talking with the health inspector. She's just like, don't worry, health inspector. Why do I still say health inspector?
Yeah, are you doing that on purpose?
She's talking with Larry the Cable Guy at this point.
What?
And she's just like... Larry the Cable Guy, you don't have to shut down the building because we're going to call off the concert.
I can't remember any of Larry the Cable Guy's jokes because my first instinct was to go, hey, there's your sign.
Because there was a movie called Larry the Cable Guy Health Inspector.
Oh my god, you're right. Why the fuck do you know that?
I don't know. Anyway, Jem commands Rio to give the people their refunds, as if Rio's in charge of the money.
Queen Jem.
So they finally make it to the main floor here. Frederick and...
Is Rio also the bookie?
Rio's got his hand in a lot of pots, Kristen.
Which is sad because one of those hands is a hook hand.
So Terry and Frederick finally make it to what I assume is the main floor. Alright, Chris, I don't understand what happens here. So, okay, anyway.
Hey, some stupid shit happens.
Frederick Vincent pulls on a thing that turns the spiral staircase into a spiral slide, into a rocket slide, basically. And Techrat and the fake Frederick Vincent and the real estate man all slide down, and they end up on the main floor. They end up spit out in front of where Jem and the holograms and the health inspector and the misfits are.
What? Did they take an elevator up at some point?
Fake Frederick Vincent still tries to pass off that he's the real deal before real Frederick Vincent and Terry come out, like, directly next to...
Real casual.
Real casual, just like, I welcome you, I'm Frederick Vincent.
Here I am, we've met before.
Also, Terry and Frederick Vincent had enough time to... Because as they come out, Terry's just like, we destroyed their special effects machine. When? When did that happen?
I don't know, we found something that looked like machinery and bashed it!
Jem asks, like, wait a minute, if you're the real Frederick Vincent, who's this guy? And fake Frederick Vincent just kind of goes, get the fuck out of here.
Techrat runs away, and makes it out of there, like, completely fucking scot-free.
They don't even ask who Techrat is. It's not like, who's the weirdo with the bag? It's just, literally, Techrat's just like, goodbye!
Techrat, vanish!
He throws down the Kung Pao smoke bomb that barely covers him as he runs away.
Yep.
The bad guys run away as well. Techrat gets away scot-free, but the others take a second or two before they start running away. And Jem touches her earring and goes, Synergy, I need some Halloween help.
And Synergy summons a whirlwind goblin.
Synergy should have just summoned herself and just been like, I'm Olivia Newton-John, and they would have went, ah!
Boo! Those summer nights.
Like, I don't want to see Grease again. Ah!
No Not again, not again.
Jem goes, wow, that's great synergy. So loud that everyone standing around her probably should have heard that.
But whatever. So yeah, Techrat now definitely splits, and they grab the fake Vincent Frederick Vincent. Which one is it?
I think he's supposed to be like Vincent Price, I think. But
I don't know.
Anyway, they Scooby-Doo him, and they take off his mask, and it's Eric.
Good acting, Eric.
I don't know why. I mean, it's Halloween. Maybe Eric was getting in the spirit of things.
Oh man, I was gonna be Vincent Frederick for Halloween anyway.
Eric places all of the blame on the real estate guy, saying that this was all, you told me it was all just gonna be harmless fun.
Okay, Eric and the real estate guy start arguing like they were dating for a little bit, and he lied to him.
There's infighting with the bad guys as they're hauled off, and of course, they can't go to jail for breaking and entering and whatever other slew of crimes they committed with this fucking convoluted plot.
So as they're getting carted off, Eric does yell, "Call my lawyer," and Pizzazz says, "Call him yourself! We have a concert to put on."
And of course, Kristen, as we know, if you frame your plan like a Scooby-Doo villain, you can't go to jail.
Eric never does.
The Misfits are about to head back over to do their concert when a lightning strike hits the dome and rips a hole in it, and Pizzazz goes, our concert is ruined!
That doesn't seem fair.
It's karma.
Because they want to do a concert too? I'm sorry, should there not be any competition in the music industry? Jem is weak is what I'm saying.
We fade to Jem. They're gonna do their Halloween performance. Jem's on stage and she does her whole like, hi, I'm Jem. Here's a Halloween song.
Hooray!
Song number 3, We Can Change It. Wait a minute.
What?
This isn't a Halloween song.
I was really surprised by this.
I liked this song better in the context of making your own rock fashion book.
It's very weird because in the rock fashion book, I was like, we can change it is such a weird phrasing to use for like fixing your film reel. Like, why not? We can fix it. So then used as a Halloween song here for we can change it, it's like magic.
Yeah, so the imagery of this music video, which is amazing by the way, is...
It is pretty great.
Terry and Jem still dressed as a witch, Terry dressed as Raggedy Ann, go on a fucking space adventure where Jem has a...
Little girl, do you want to be haunted by a witch?
Jem has a magic shield up and they're fighting a fucking giant cat, a giant Frankenstein, and a man-bat, all firing eye lasers at them.
Oh, a Batman.
There's a Batman villain called Man-Bat.
What?
Yep.
God, I hate comics.
It's a lab experiment gone wrong kind of thing. And there was actually, there's an episode of Batman the Animated Series where there was a lady Man-Bat.
What? That sounds like bullshit.
So they magic the bad guys and Jem fires magic at the bad guys with the help of Raggedy Ann here, and they turn into flowers.
And we see that Terry has some kind of narcolepsy. She fell asleep during a concert.
She's like front row too.
Yeah, it's gonna be loud.
So yeah, Ashley is like shaking Terry awake here. Oh, what a fine dream! It was really loud. I don't know how I fell asleep. And then she looks down and she has flowers.
Ashley, I need to go to the hospital.
Was it a dream?
Or was it a haunting?
Jem winks at the camera as the song ends, and I assumed that the episode was going to end there, but no, we have very...
I did too.
We have like 3 lines we still need to do here, so...
Good, let's get them all out.
We cut to outside the opera house, where Frederick Vincent is just like, oh, it's more beautiful than ever, and I'm going to come out of retirement to put on new plays. So there's your, I guess, extra explanation, Kristen, as to...
I'm going to start paying my taxes.
And the holograms all encourage him, just like, that's great, Frederick Vincent, good on ya! And then Phantom leaps into Terry's arms, and they expect that she's gonna be scared, and she just kind of goes, oh, isn't Phantom the cutest? How was I ever scared of him? Ha 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 ha.
Everyone giggles and the episode is over.
I don't think we needed that.
Oh, Terry's not afraid of cats anymore? Good, I was so invested in her.
That was Techrat. Weird episode, all things considered, considering it's a Halloween-themed episode, but there's very little Halloween stuff. It's basically it's a subpar Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah, basically.
At the very least. This episode did have Techrat to explain all of the spooky happenings, unlike in an episode of fucking Scooby-Doo where you get a guy with a glowy costume and it just, when they catch him and pull off his mask, it's no longer glowing.
The magic runs out.
all that extra witch curse runs out that they were running on.
Ah, the magic!
Now is the point in the evening where I will list off all of the fun contact things where you can find us. You can follow us on the Twitter machine at CWTAPod. You could follow me at Octopus. That's AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirlTM, like trademark.
You can find us on the iTunes, on the SoundCloud, on the Stitcher Radio, on the YouTube. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever you feel like. You could also reach us on Gmail, CWTAPod@gmail.com, where you can please educate us on Halloween canon. How can you get cursed? Is a ghoul corporeal? Can you get cursed by a ghost? Is a mummy a haunting? A mummy curse, is that a haunt? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Please let us know. Please let us know.
I feel like I need to go play Eternal Darkness.
Next week, Kristen, it is the presidential dilemma. The president has been kidnapped by ninjas. Is Jim a bad enough dude to rescue the president?
Gem dudes versus dragon ninjas in the mail?
Well, Kristen, next week there's going to be a fucking presidential dilemma. So, for the Can We Talk About podcast, my name is Joe.
My name is Kristen.
And join us next week where we'll be bad enough dudes to rescue the president.
The arcade game Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninjas in the mail.